It's not any car that can still turn heads 4 years after it was introduced, yet this generation of the Mazda 6 does just that. Now for the 2018 model year, Mazda is giving everything an extensive freshening up, but without messing too much with success. Like always, this review will cover the entire range of Mazda 6s, including the 2 new trim levels added this year, Grand Touring Reserve and Signature. So let's go ahead and check out the updated and more upscale 6. We would like to specially thank Paul Miller Mazda for inviting us out to come and film this review. If you would like to find out more information about their dealership and massive inventory of new Mazdas, then check the video description for both their physical and web addresses. Like every Mazda, the 6 comes standard with this small and lightweight corporate key fob. However, the Sport does do without smart entry. As you can already tell, there are pretty extensive changes to the interior, but first let's see the changes under the hood. Some of 2018's biggest changes are found under the hood. The highlight is this brand new 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which replaces the base engine on Grand Touring and Up. It makes significantly more power at 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Now only the Sport and Touring come with the base 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine, but it still makes a class competitive 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. Regardless of choice, it will always be front-wheel drive, and nearly every trim comes standard with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Unlike most rivals, you can still get a 6-speed manual, but you are relegated to only the base trim. As we've come to expect of Skyactiv engines, they are quite strong in the fuel economy department. These engines are no different, with the base setup getting 26 city, 35 highway, 29 combined, dropping to 27 combined with the manual. Springing for the more powerful engine doesn't hurt much at the pump, still getting 23 city, 31 highway, 26 combined. Anyways, that sums up all the new stuff under the hood, so now let's check out the exterior upgrades. One of the cool things about the 6 is that even the base model shares the vast majority of the styling with the new top-end Signature. But regardless of trim, the front end has been significantly altered, adopting a more menacing look in line with the new CX-5. Chrome traces the bottom edge, and black mesh makes up the interior on all but the Signature where it is gunmetal silver. The chrome carries into the headlights, which have been upgraded to be fully LED across the range. You do still get the adaptive lighting system by choosing the GT Reserve or Signature, but fog lamps have been entirely eliminated. Moving on to the wheels, Mazda continues to offer larger options than most rivals. These are the new 19-inch dark finish alloy wheels, which are nicely included on all but the base trim. On the Signature, they do have a different silver finish, and the Sport still has gray 17-inch alloys. For brakes, you have 11.7-inch ventilated disc in the front and 10.9-inch solid disc in the rear, and the tires are all seasons. Moving back to the mirrors, they are body colored and power adjusting across the board, with heating and auto dimming starting on the Grand Touring. Surprisingly, Mazda does include blind spot monitoring standard on all models. Looking at the side of the 6, it still retains its long, low, and sleek appearance. The actual measurement is 191.5 inches long, which is about a half an inch shy of the Camry and Accord. In addition to the standard blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, there are also several other safety systems on board. Low-speed emergency braking is standard on all models, while going up to the Touring adds full-speed emergency braking, radar cruise control, lane keeping assist, and auto high beam headlights. And as far as the official ratings are concerned, the 6 aced all of the tests conducted by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Every Mazda 6 has a 16.4 gallon fuel tank, good for ranges of 476 miles with the standard engine and 443 miles with the turbo. Both engines use regular fuel, but premium is recommended on the 2.5T. Moving around to the rear of the 6, it has seen less changes than the front. There are still small refinements, like this chrome strip going into the taillights. Like the headlights, the taillights have been changed out for a fully LED setup across every single trim. Finally, down below, you'll find dual chrome exhaust outlets on all 5 trim levels. Well, that concludes the tour of the outside. So now let's see what's changed on the inside. So this is the 3rd time Mazda has revised the interior since this generation was released, and I have to say, it's getting sweeter with time. The cabin is rich looking even for the base car, and especially so for the new Signature trim. The Sport comes with cloth seats in black or sand, with the Touring and Grand Touring having leatherette seats in the same 2 colors. For the new Grand Touring Reserve, the seats are upgraded to real leather in black or parchment. And then for the Signature, they are further upgraded to high-end Napa leather in parchment or deep chestnut. It also has real wood and ultra suede trim. Moving over to the door trim, it mirrors the high-quality materials, with stitched leather on the armrest and all of the area above it. You also have some nice silver trim with a brushed aluminum design. All 4 of the windows are one-touch automatic up and down. This being the Grand Touring means we have the 6-way power seats, which are 6-way manual on the Sport and 8-way power on the upper 2 trims. Even though this is the leatherette, it still feels soft and has an attractive stitching design. So at first glance around the cabin, you can immediately see changes and refinements. Though already nice, the materials have also seen a further boost. The entire upper dash is all made of high-quality soft-touch plastic. But in the middle, you have leather across the entire width of the car, or the signature would have suede here. The signature would also have real sin wood instead of this trim. Even all these lower areas are covered in leather across all trims, and all the pieces fit together really well. On every 6, press the button to start. Once you do, this new 8-inch display with smaller bezels fires up across all 5 trims. So these gauges are the typical sporty affair we've come to expect from Mazda, with the last section serving as a multi-function display. It contains all the expected stuff, but the bigger news is the new digital gauges on the signature. So every 6 comes standard with electric power assisted rack and pinion steering, and this leather wrapped wheel is now standard on every trim for 2018. These buttons are for audio, phone, and the display. And then the other side is for the adaptive cruise control or regular cruise on the Sport. Also surprisingly standard on most trims are automatic rain sensing wipers, but the paddles only come with the turbo engine. As far as the wheel itself, it is manually tilt and telescoping, with heating added on the Grand Touring Reserve and up. Now moving on to interior storage, the 6 has an adequate amount. The center console bin is smaller than most rivals, but you still have 2 USBs and a couple other connections. Under here are 2 really deep cup holders. And then up in the front there is another bin, perfectly sized for a cell phone. Backing up, all models have this leather shifter. Pressing to the left gives you manual shifting on all trims, but again, paddles are turbo exclusive. When you shift into reverse, a standard backup camera appears on all trims. But the big news this year is the new 360-degree bird's eye camera that comes on the signature. This is a first for Mazda, and also includes front and rear parking sensors. Next to the shifter is the toggle to activate sport mode, and further back you have an electronic parking brake and brake hold feature. This knob next to it is for the Mazda Connect system, if you don't want to put fingerprints on the screen. Anyways, now let's sample the GT and Up's 11-speaker Bose premium audio system. Overall, this sound system is quite good, and definitely better than what I remember the Touring Accords being. Moving up to the climate, this is an area that's been extensively redesigned this year. All models now have dual-zone automatic climate, with this new Audi-like panel. All the buttons are right here, nicely labeled. Plus, they all have a pleasant tactile feel. To go along with that, all but the Sport has 3-stage heated seats, and you can now get 3-stage ventilation on the GT Reserve and Signature. That now brings us to the Mazda Connect system, so let's take a quick look. So like I already mentioned, you have a bigger 8-inch display this year, but it is still a touchscreen. This is the home screen with 5 simple sections. Starting off with applications, you have a few of the normal things, but the big news this year is the addition of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The 2018 Mazda 6 will be the first Mazda to get those features, though the models at the beginning of the production run, like this car, still don't have them. You will be able to retroactively add them later in the summer if you go ahead and buy one. Next up is audio. I have my phone connected through the standard Bluetooth, and can easily control the functions on this screen like playing and pausing songs. And these are all the other audio sources. Next we have communication, which is what other automakers call phone. You can easily access the list of your contacts synced over from your smartphone. Finally, we will check out navigation. This will come on the Grand Touring, Grand Touring Reserve, and Signature trims. That's all I'm going to cover in this video, but if you'd like to see a more detailed look, including a deep dive into all the settings, then check out our dedicated Tech Help video. A link is provided in the description. Up top, GTs and Up have an auto-dimming mirror with home link remotes. It would be frameless on the Signature. Surprisingly, a power moonroof is now included on all but the base trim. There is no panoramic option like some of the rivals are starting to offer, but since it's standard, you certainly can't complain. So all in all, the redesigned cabin of the 6 really stands out for the class. The new Camry and Accord both have very nice interiors, but this just has a classiness to it that makes it feel more in line with luxury vehicles. And this is not even the Signature, which would kick things up even further. Mazda has really been killing it recently with cabin design, and this might be the best one yet. Now I'll let Mason demo all the rest of the car. The rear door trim of the 6 has extremely nice materials for the class. The elbow rest is leather padded, above it is leather too, and even the top part is made of soft touch plastic. The rear windows are fully automatic up and down. As far as space goes, the Mazda 6 is rated at 38.7 inches of legroom and 37.1 inches of headroom. That is class competitive, but behind the segment leaders like the new Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. The seats themselves I find to be very comfortable, and the design is also quite elegant. Down in the center, Mazda surprisingly gives you rear vents on all but the very base sport trim. They also give you this nice center armrest with some cup holders in the front, and a felt-lined storage compartment in the back. There's also 2 smart charging USBs on Touring and Up. Up top you have rear lighting, a nice headliner, and an assist grip and coat hook. Behind Drew's seating position, I have tons of room for both my legs and feet. I can almost fully stretch out. And scooting over, the seat is scooted all the way back. Summed up, the rear seats of the Mazda 6 are a great place to be. While it's not the most spacious in the class, it has every feature you could want and a luxurious feel that you typically don't see in mid-sizers. I leave very impressed. Coming to the rear, you can open the trunk with a key, or just use the button underneath the lid. That reveals a good 14.8 cubic feet of space, but that is quite a bit below the new Accord and Camry for reference. The hinges are covered, and here's the handle to fold the 60/40 split seat backs. The passenger seat is manually adjusting on our GT trim, but the GT Reserve and Signature add the 6-way power adjustment. Materials in front of the passenger are very luxurious, with leather, padded plastic, and silver trim. The glove box is also dampened and good sized. The leather down here is also a nice touch for a mid-sizer. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching the first in-depth review on the new 2018 Mazda 6 Grand Touring. Stay tuned for the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.